Hello, this is Nathan from MeterX, and I'm here today with our friend Andy from Britain. So, Andy, how are you today?
Yes, I'm good, thanks, Nathan. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So, tell us about your carnivore success story. What was your health like before carnivore?
Very poor, to be honest with you. Went through, got some substantial life changes, and just seem to, no matter what I do, things just seem to always be going downhill. It's kind of yo-yo dieting and training, and I'd lose some weight and feel okay, and then something would happen, and um, I'd end up in a situation where my health felt significantly worse than the 6 months before, and it was kind of hanging on in was probably a fair summary, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. What were your major health concerns, if you don't mind?
Yeah, probably like a lot of people, I'd chronic acid reflux. I mean, absolutely diabolical. Really severe IBS, severe hay fever, chronic insomnia, bouts of depression. I was overweight, pretty much clinically obese, if the truth was known. I had all kinds of minor ailments. My joints would hurt, my fingers would hurt. Silly little things like, I always felt like my face was really greasy. I went through a number of years where I seemed to be getting infections on two or three infections a year. I'd have a throat infection or an ear infection or a urine infection. And it just seemed to be never ending, sometimes as you get older, you kind of initially think, oh, well, maybe it's old age or, middle age, or, the price for living the lifestyle that you've led to that point. It's difficult to judge. And sometimes when you're so low, it's difficult to think objectively and put things in perspective and make rational choices. And you end up perpetuating self-destructive habits that you end up in a kind of a cycle of, misery and excess, and then trying to over contribute or overbalance by, going on the latest health craze. And just kind of every year I seem to find myself, my weight every year seems to be half a stone heavier than I was the year before, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Almost everything you mentioned, I had the same thing. Yeah. I had terrible acid reflux, depression, skin problems too. So yeah, that all sounds very familiar. So, and like you said, you weren't able to fully connect the dots between diet and health problems. So I
Yeah,
was like that too.
if I give you some backstory, I'm quite a big lad. I'm 6'2". I've always been on the big side of things. I started weightlifting when I was 12, 13, 14. I used to play rugby, started playing rugby when I was 7. Both my parents were chefs, so I was very fortunate to grow up in a household of, I was introduced to a significantly wide range of foods. And I always appreciated, good food and wine. My dad taught me about drinking wine when I was obviously, old enough to, to drink and appreciate it. And it never really occurred to me, maybe I had an unhealthy relationship with food, because that's just the way it was to me. I'd never been one for a lot of processed food and snacks and pot noodles. I don't know if you have them in Canada, but I would never go down to the store really unless I was really desperate and buy a packet soup or a pot of something and put it in the oven. I'd generally make it myself because that was kind of what I was used to. But I guess when I was younger, because I was so physically active, I was always sport. It was in England at the time, you know, it was always rugby over winter and athletics in the summer, cricket, running, weightlifting. I joined the army when I was 18, which added another poisonous element, which obviously was excessive alcohol consumption. Because in them days, obviously, you know, I'm going back 30 odd years, heavy drinking was part of the lifestyle. You know, we worked hard, we played hard, we drank significantly. But I was really big into my weightlifting. I had a few friends who I worked with, who were in the same kind of mindset. So we'd work hard, we'd go to the gym a couple of hours a day, every day, really hit the weights hard, go out, you know, and drink really stupid amounts of beer. Had a significant injury when I was 22. I broke my femur playing rugby. I got a fat embolism in my lungs where the bone marrow inside the bone got into the bloodstream and formed a huge clot in my lungs. I nearly died. I mean, it was touch and go for 4 or 5 days, which had a profound psychological impact on me. You know, it made me think what I was doing, where I was going, made me grow up a little bit, you know. As most young men in their early 20s, you think you're invulnerable, nothing ever happens, you know, life is just one joyous carousel of fun and entertainment. I left the army and I went to work for myself as a diving instructor. And again, you know, I'd moved from one physically demanding job to another physically demanding job. So at the time, my diet choices, you know, were mitigated by the hard physical labour that I was doing at the time. Obviously, leaving the army, the drinking subsided significantly, but it was still a part of, you know, weekends. I'd go out with my friends and we'd enjoy ourselves. Never really had any issues. You know, just carried on life, working hard, training, making a living, enjoying myself. And then it all started to kind of go wrong. I ended up having major back surgery, and I moved back to the UK and ended up working as a technical engineer, doing basically a driving job. And I couldn't understand why I was suddenly, you know, I was a reasonably fit, healthy young man. You know, I was quite big. I'd always had a little bit of a belly, which I never understood, even when I was training, you know. And then all of a sudden, I was sitting there and I just got this big fat belly. So where did that come from? And that kind of started the endless cycle of yo-yo dieting. You know, I tried all sorts, you know, smoothie diets, you know, I'd buy the latest fad diet book from Amazon, you know, eat like a rabbit for 2 weeks and you'll lose 2 stone, you know. And of course, like a lot of these unsustainable lifestyles, you normally see a bit of a change to start off with, because obviously you've eliminated a lot of the toxins, sugars, carbohydrates, whatever, drinking, but it was never sustainable. I never was able to move past a certain point, and then something would happen and I'd end up eating and drinking again and I'd be overweight again, which kind of then led me into the carnivore lifestyle about this time 2 years ago now, actually, if the truth was known.
So that's a great segue into my next question. How did you hear about the carnivore way of eating?
When it started, I was going through a usual phase of, it was the new year, I wanted to get fit, all, you know, the same stuff that a lot of people go through. And at that point, I was getting pretty desperate. You know, my acid reflux I'd had a couple of years where it wasn't diagnosed, and it was really bad to the point like my lungs were burnt, my respiratory tubes were all hugely inflamed. You know, and I was basically, you know, I'd been on medication for a couple of years once that had been resolved, and I was facing a lifetime of medication, hay fever tablets, acid reflux tablets, Gaviscon, painkillers, and I was facing a lifetime of that, and it just didn't feel right. I didn't feel that, 40, whatever, 45, that I should be living a lifestyle that was dependent on tablets. And it sounds stupid. It's like, oh, can I go out now? Do I have my tablets on me? No. Where are my tablets? I can't go somewhere without my tablets. Am I going away for the weekend? Have I got enough tablets to last me for the weekend? What if? And it's very debilitating. Mentally, it really messes with your head. So I started keto, and like most of these, initially the first month or two, saw pretty good results, lost a bit of weight, felt a bit healthier. But I really couldn't get my head around keto. It seemed so difficult, measuring macros and measuring calories and portion size, and I really just couldn't get on with it. It just seemed so restrictive and really hard work. And it's like, I can't do this. And this will sound a bit, to most of your people who understand carnivore, the actual trigger was the interview that Dr. ShawnBaker did with Joe Rogan a few years ago. And I just stumbled across it one day. Wasn't particularly looking, I didn't even know what carnivore was, but there's this big bloke like me in his 50s, talking about eating meat. And I'm like, God, this guy's mental. It totally contradicts everything that I've been taught about diet and nutrition from the mainstream education system and the media and all the rest of it. And I listened to him. Obviously he's ex-army like I was, so it's like, well, I've got to listen to this guy. He's ex-army. And talking to him, I was just like, my God, what? And I then started doing some research, and I found out about the Petersons, Michaela and Jordan Peterson, curing her chronic lifestyle ailments, and him, curing his bipolar depression. And it just started off a massive round of study work and reference. I don't like to jump into things without looking into them in some detail and finding out what's going on. And at that point, I was just so miserable. I was so overweight. I was the heaviest I'd ever been. I was so overweight. I was so miserable, depressed, drinking heavily. And I was like, I need to do something to change my life around. So I started a 3-month, a 3-month program, if you will, where, I initially had meat, different types of meat, dairy, eggs, cut down cut the booze out. Then the second month, cut the coffee out. And then the third month, it was just literally beef and plain water. And, I lost a ton of weight. I was probably, at my heaviest, I was probably about 18 stone, which is about 250 pounds. Now I'm 6'2". With big baggy shirts, I could kind of get away with it. But, when you're trying to bend over and tie your laces and you've got to sit down, it's not good. I lost a very close friend to prostate cancer. And then when you realise that for men over 50, if you're clinically obese, you've got a hugely increased rate of getting prostate cancer. Heading towards my 50s, that was quite a shock, And initially I did it for the weight loss. I'll be honest with you, not expecting anything else. Maybe, if I could lose a couple of stone, I'd be quite happy with that. But within 2 weeks, I was off all my medications, not one single tablet for the first time in about 10 years. I was training in the gym like a beast. I was getting big, more muscular. I was losing weight. I was sleeping better. My skin was better. I was eating better. My mental acuity was through the roof. I wasn't falling asleep at work. Everything was just amazing. And, it was such a revelation. And, I was so excited. I just wanted to tell everybody, I just wanted to run around the office at work going, stop, put your sausage roll down, put your pot noodle down, you look at me. But again, some people don't, there's a lot of people obviously don't want it thrust in the face. So I just carried on. Quite a few people noticed, and they'd come up to me and they'd ask me, and then I would explain to them about the carnivore diet and the changes it had to me. And that's kind of my way of propagating it. I don't get in people's faces, but if they come up and ask me and seem genuinely interested, then I'll try and engage them in conversation and explain the health benefits and, some of the science behind it. And like I say, for the last 2 years, I've added some fasting into the mix as well. I feel fantastic. I don't have to take them. I don't have my medicines. I don't have to take them. Occasionally I might get, a headache and take a paracetamol, but, I feel like a totally different person. I don't recognize the man I was 2 years ago, and it's had such a profound impact on my life. That when I was asked to come and do this, it was a golden opportunity. It's to tell other people about the benefits and how it's helped me out and how it's helped so many people out. And it's all good. It's all good now.
That's awesome. Wow. Yeah, I to be able to get off medication, I don't know. This is the pharmaceutical company's worst nightmare. They want everyone to be on medication. So to be able to fix it with just food, that's pretty profound.
Yeah, it's, and then when you look at, obviously there's, when you start looking into the carnivore diet, and I think fasting's quite an important tool as well. When you look into it, which I have done, and you see like the profound effect it's had on the Aboriginal people who, 50, 60 years ago didn't have a word for cancer or heart disease or diabetes. And we're all absolutely ripped, running through the bush, eating grubs and stuff like that. And you look at them now and and obviously there's a lot of African tribes who, they don't have a word for doctor. If they're ill, they make a shelter in the bush away from the tribe and they fast till they get better. And obviously the ancestral implications of meat. Obviously seems to be a strong body of evidence that it was eating meat and fat that increased our brain size dramatically and allowed us to become, evolve from apes to a more hominid way of life. It's the evidence seems to be quite overwhelming, and as you say, obviously I don't like it's like in Canada, but to buy, I don't know, a pack of medicines for say 10, 15 pounds, which is probably $20, $30 roughly.
Yep. About that.
Every couple of months, you're spending maybe 30, 40 pounds every couple of months on medication. And to think I can go down to the butcher's and get a couple of ribeye steaks and 6 eggs, it's, it's just amazing. And, I think that's the other thing as well. There's a lot of people say, oh, but isn't it expensive? And it's like, well, it doesn't have to be. Who doesn't love a good ribeye and some eggs? But, some organic beef burgers. Sometimes my favourite meal is I just fry up a load of mince, chop some liver in there, scramble a couple of eggs, bit of salt and pepper. I know it's not strictly carnivore, bit of chili sauce. I know, don't. And I'll just sit there and eat a bowl of mince and it's I'm away. And like I say, with the fasting as well, I think that's because of obviously of the health issues. I think the fasting is a good complement to the carnivore diet. But it's like everything, you know, you need to know what you're doing, and you have to have a certain amount of moderation in what you're doing. And you know, I think some plants do have a place in society. I mean, obviously they were used as medicine, and I think, you know, for some people, having some plant food may be beneficial for them. Again, everybody's individual, and you have to, you know, for me, I would say my case is probably more on the severe side than the average person who's maybe hadn't had quite such a severe medical background, you know, a medical problem. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's difficult to, you know, to express how thankful I am that I've stumbled across this and how much it's improved my situation.
Yeah, I know how debilitating acid reflux is. It's I remember having to drink apple cider vinegar. I don't know if you ever found that cure or treatment for acid reflux. That helps momentarily.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of it myself, to be honest with you. I find the fasting was a bigger help. But to be honest, I found the meat was more of a significant issue. And I find now that, you know, if for some reason, you know, if there's like a special occasion and there was nothing else there to eat, you know, sometimes I might be tempted to have a salad or, you know, have some vegetables or something like that. And I find that because obviously my body's had a couple of years to heal the damage that had been done over the time, that I can sustain, you know, a non-carnivore meal on occasion without any side effects, which just goes to show just how powerful it is, and obviously, you know, having the physical health underpinning the mental health, it just makes life so much easier. And obviously I know it's been difficult, this year's been difficult for all of us, you know, given the current situation, but you know, I dread to think if I'd have tried to go through last year with my old self, how things might have been totally different, to be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think I would have, personally, I don't think I would have made it if I was still eating the way I was before on the lockdowns. So
yeah. It's, I say, I mean, my case was quite extreme. I mean, I think I was quite unfortunate. My acid reflux went undiagnosed for quite a significant time. I think it was probably well over a year, maybe a year and a half before I got a successful diagnosis. And the damage caused was quite extensive. You know, without getting too graphic, don't upset the viewers, but you know, when your lungs and your bronchial tubes are so inflamed that you can barely breathe, and there's just mucus everywhere, it's not a good place to be. And you know, when you damage the body that extensively for such a long period of time, it can take quite a long time. It can take quite a long time to heal. But like most of these things, when you're so, if you're so desperate, if you've been through 40, 50 years of mainstream diet and you've yo-yoed and you've tried all the rest of it, when you try something so, I'd like to say it's revolutionary, but it's not. It's as old as mankind itself. You know, the carnivore story is mankind. You know, how we lived, you know, hundreds of thousands of years ago. You know, it can change your life, and you know, it can repair the damage, and you can go on. You know, I don't have to worry about, do I need a chair to sit down so I can tie my laces? You know, do I need my Gaviscon when I walk out the door? You know, can I go to the field and like this morning we had some snow here in the UK. Can I go out and pull the sledge with my boy and throw snowballs at him for a couple of hours and not feel like I'm about to have a heart attack because I can barely breathe? It's and it's difficult because obviously it's such a short space of time to try and go through all the body of evidence to back that up. But the success is there. And when you see it in yourself and you realize how far you have changed and how far you have come, that gives you that motivation. When somebody puts that cream cake in front of your face, you go, no, thank you. You know what? I've got a pack of bacon in the fridge. I'm going to fry that up and, I'll eat that instead. And they look at me like, you're a lunatic. You're eating bacon. You're going to die. And I'm like, look at how I was 2 years ago, to 4 stone. I've lost over 4 stone over the last 2 years doing this. And I'm off my meds completely. Haven't had to take a tablet in over 2 years. And tell me again that I'm going to die from a heart attack because I've just eaten a pound of bacon.
Yeah. It's crazy. Yep. And like you said before, it is it's not complicated like keto is, right? And it's honestly, when people say, oh, it must be so expensive. Well, no, not really, because we don't eat as much. And, are just like, I remember eating the way I ate before was pretty much the American standard, SAD diet. And I could spend some days $20-$30 eating out. And now to have one meal a day when it's just one ingredient, you can buy higher quality meats now. And it's still cheaper than the way I ate before. So
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, when I first started, I was probably eating 2 meals a day. But as you say, as my body became more adjusted to the regime and became fat adapted and all the rest of it, like I say, some days I won't, deliberately I won't eat. I'll try a longer fast, a 2-3 day fast maybe. A lot of the time I will only have 1 meal a day. Find like one ribeye, 5 or 6 pieces of bacon, 5 or 6 fried eggs, nice big meal, and I'm done for the rest of the day. And I'm not even hungry now. I get to the night time, still not hungry. It's all good. And as you say, go to the takeaway and you buy the big pizza and the bottle of pop and the KFCs and all the rest of the rubbish. And it's like, I just spent 40 quid on a takeaway. And it's like, well, that piece of ribeye cost me, the equivalent of $5 or $6. Eggs are, a pence, and a pack of bacon's, a couple of pounds. So, for what, less than £5, I fed myself for the entire day. What's not like to like about it? And I've got my health back, and I've got my life back, and I can enjoy myself. And I feel, I'm 51. I feel fit and healthy, and what's not to like about it?
Exactly. That's awesome. Wow. Now, just out of curiosity, because we use pounds here in Canada, how much is a stone? I remember looking up before. I think it's like 11, 12 pounds, something like that.
14 pounds.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So yeah.
So 4 stone, you said you lost?
4 stone, yeah. So it's just over 50 pounds.
Yeah. Okay.
Roughly.
That's yeah. I lost about 80 pounds, and I never really worked out or exercised at all, and it just melted off on this diet and got rid of all my health problems too. So
yeah, I do work out. I do like to go to the gym. I mean, my wife likes to do a yoga. Me personally, going to the gym is my form of yoga. Not excessively, but I do like to go to the gym and throw a few weights around or whatever. Obviously, last year's not been so helpful, but it's been quite nice to be in the situation where I've not been able to go to the gym or go out and still keep the weight to a reasonable level. I'll be honest with you, I had a little bit of a blowout over Christmas, but since the new year started, straight back on it. All the weight's dropped off, and it's looking forward to the next year, and I can't see any reason not to change. Why would I want to go back to an old unhealthy lifestyle?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yep. When you see the contrast, And I always say when you fall off the wagon, it reminds you why you got on the wagon. So because you just feel like crap whenever you eat the old way, like you said, like the cake or the treats or what people consider.
Yeah,
treats.
I mean, it's,
yeah.
I think some, I think that's the reason some people maybe struggle is obviously the weight of expectation can be quite high. You have to do this and you have to do that, and I think, well, I've only been doing this for 2 years, but I've been living for 51. And it's nice to have Christmas dinner with my family, for example, and I'll have some veggies and roast potatoes, and it's like, well, I know I can eat a couple of ribeyes the next day and some bacon and eggs and feel fine. I try not to beat myself up too much about it, or I'd like, generally I'm pretty strict. I like to keep the carnivore as it is because of the health benefits and the lifestyle choices. But if I do occasionally have what most people would say is a cheat meal, I don't agree with that type. I don't think it's a cheat meal. But I think mentally and psychologically, that there's a lot to be gained from sharing a family event with close friends and family that outweigh the loss of one meal. Mm-hmm. I think you can gain a lot more psychologically from sharing that experience. And I think people realise when you are carnivore that you're making an effort to eat with them. They understand that it's, I wouldn't say sacrifice, but I think they understand the gesture is meant as it is there. So I think you need to put everything in moderation sometimes and not be too, you don't have to be too hardcore. Life can be difficult, and I don't drink a lot now, but I like Jack Daniels. I don't see having a couple of shots of Jack with on ice on a weekend is too much of an issue. To be honest with you, I think life is to be enjoyed, and I think obviously there's a whole range. There's some people who will be dirty carnivore or whatever, and some will be really strict, just meat and water. Whatever works for you. If it works for you, exactly. I'm happy for you. I'm absolutely happy for you. I've found a system that works for me, and I think the mental benefits of sharing communal dinners occasionally is far outweighs any damage that might be done. You're not going to damage yourself by having one meal of a standard meal, if you will.
Yeah, and there's some foods we know we just absolutely cannot cheat with, right? Or eat. Like with me, anything with wheat, gluten will cause a lot of pain, so I stay away from that. But a meal with a few vegetables in it might make me a little bit itchy because I have that histamine oxalate response. Yeah. But it won't kill me, right? One meal won't kill you. So you just go right back on.
I'm very strict on sugar. I stay away from sugar like the absolute plague, because that's I think that's a big trigger for me. So I'll stick away from sugar, absolutely. But as you say, I don't know, obviously in Canada, we British, we do like our roast dinners on a Sunday, so and obviously Christmas and whatever. But I like to limit it to a reasonable amount. I don't think there's too much of an issue there.
Mm-hmm. So what advice would you give anyone who maybe is like you started 2 years ago, who maybe, hearing this and thinking about it, dealing with the same health problems you used to have? What advice would you give them?
Do your research. Don't take, there's a lot of people here. There's a lot of self-styled experts who are promoting this and promoting that. And there's always a catch, well, if you buy my product, I will help you get X, Y, and Z. And I think the carnivore is probably the only lifestyle where I've never seen that. You don't need powders and pills and diet drinks and this, and you don't need that product and this special tub that they will get you. So if you buy 2, you'll get the 3rd one free. Look at the podcast, there's YouTube, listen to people's, go to the websites. There's a lot of resources out there. There's obviously the MeterX website. There's a lot of proponents who have a lot of stories from a lot of people like myself. And there's people out there who way, way worse. You know, I feel quite fortunate that I don't have any serious, you know, like cancer or anything like that. And there's a lot of people out there who've made significantly better improvements to their life than I have, who've gone through some real significant challenges, you know. Try it. I mean, I'll be honest with you, the first 2 weeks was horrendous. The top coming off, you know, the detox from the sugar and the carbs and not being able to go to the toilet was pretty bad, you know. And anybody who tells you different is lying. But you've just got to fight your way through it. You know, find a way that helps you. You know, I only drink black coffee, and it's like I'm not giving up my coffee to start off with. And then once I got through the detox process, and I got rid of all the headaches and the aches and the pains and all the rest of it, then I was able to think, you know what, I've done so well here, I'm going to give up the coffee for a while. And I'll just say, you know, take some pictures, make a weight record. You know, there's loads of techniques that you can take some self-accountability. You know, get the tape measure out. I did all of those. I took pictures back and front, got the tape measure out, kept a record of my scales. But I think if you're if you've been on tablets for a long time, when you find that you're not reaching for the drawer for the tablets, then I think it'll become self-explanatory why you do that. And I'd say, please just give it a go. If you're on tablets every day or your life's miserable, how can the prospect of being better not be a better option?
Yeah, at least trying it. Absolutely. Yeah, and I always say, watch the success stories. That is really how, I mean, you can say, but this study says this about the vegan diet, or that study says that about cholesterol. Watch the success stories. You can't discount all of those. Those people are doing much better, and right? So
yeah, no, definitely. I mean, yeah, look at the testimonies, look at what people read. You know, when you see the thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of people who've improved their life because of this, whether or not there's been a medical study, and we all know a lot of medical studies are not worth the paper they're written on anyway, to be honest with you. How can improving your life by going back to a more simpler way that we used to adopt hundreds of thousands of years ago, how can that not be a benefit? And you owe it to yourself and your family and your friends and your kids, but more to yourself. You know, if you're doing it, I'm doing this for my kids. No, you need to do it for yourself. You know, your health is primary. Your kids aren't going to thank you if you're not around, but they will do. You know, they will get the side. They will reap the reward of the benefit of you being fit and healthy.
That's true. Well,
and it's difficult. It's difficult to not sound preachy. It's you know,
when it's done so much for you.
Yeah, you know, and you know, you want to pass that on to other people and hopefully show them that there's a better way. And but obviously, the last thing you want is somebody sitting there telling. No, I wouldn't preach to anybody, and I wouldn't say you must do this and you must do that. Not at all. You know, I just say, you know, look at the evidence, look at the go to the Meet RX website, go to the YouTube channel, look at the testimonies, look at the videos, make up your own mind. You know, I don't think you would ever look back, to be honest.
Yeah, it's true. All right. Well, we're going on half an hour here, I think, probably over that, but it's been a good chat anyway. And I know thousands of people are going to hear this, so your example will help other people. So I know that's something I've noticed in the carnivore community. They want to help other people. Your story will help other people. So
no, and you know, like I said, I'd like to thank you and all the team for giving me the opportunity and the platform to come on and share my story. And as you say, you know, if one person improves their lifestyle from hearing my story, then, you know, mission accomplished. But it's been really nice to talk to you and like I say, to have the platform to reach people and just tell my story. You know, no preaching, no moralizing, no wagging fingers. You know, and if it can help anybody, then, you know, it serves its purpose. And, you know, you guys are doing a great job, and you know, it's nice to see that the word is getting out there, and Carnivore's, you know, getting the recognition it deserves, because you know, you guys are fighting the fight. So you know, thank you to you guys as well. So you know, brilliant.
Yep. Thank you. All right. Well, it was nice talking to you, Andy, and you have a good night. And yeah, thanks for coming on.
Pleasure, Nathan. All the best. You take care.